Welcome to another video here, guys. My name is Christopher from Cars Unlocked. Today I'm sharing my top 10 tips for buying a used vehicle in 2023. So for 2023, the used car market has certainly changed compared to 3, 4, 5 years ago, probably since the last time you purchased a vehicle. So if you're looking to purchase a vehicle now, maybe your car is broken down, or the car that you have is getting old, or you actually need a vehicle and you're looking on the used car market, I'm gonna share my top 10 tips for buying a used car. Now, who am I? Well, my name is Christopher. I have the channel here at Cars Unlocked, and I've been a sales and finance manager here in Canada for over 10 years. So I've learned a lot of things of what to do and what not to do when purchasing a vehicle. And stay tuned to the end, guys, because I'm gonna give you 2 words not to say to a car salesman when you're on the lot. That's just gonna help make your buying experience easier. A lot of consumers hate the process of buying a car, so we're hopefully gonna make it easier for you. Let's jump in to our first tip. Tip number 1 is doing research. Before you even contact your dealership, you need to use the online resources that you have at your fingertips in order to assess the market and conduct research. Look on Auto Trader, read dealership reviews, compare different prices of the makes and models that you're interested in, compare trim levels, figure out kind of what you're looking for. Use the online resources to assess the market, figure out what the type of car you're looking for is buying and selling for, and then approach a dealership. Do not approach a dealership without doing any market research. You also want to narrow down what you're looking for. One of the things that makes it so hard when you're a salesperson is when the customer comes in and they say, "I don't know what I want." That makes it very hard because the only person that knows what they want is the customer, and the salesperson kind of has to dig the information out of them. So figure out your needs and wants, your lifestyle, your budget, figure all those things out, what type of driving you'll be doing. Really put some major thought into the process, because this is gonna be one of your biggest purchases you'll ever make in your life. So put a lot of thought into what type of driving you're doing, where you're gonna be taking the car, how much commuting you'll be doing, how much kilometers or miles you'll be putting on the car a year, how many passengers will you have, how secure is your job gonna change, will you have to commute for work? Really think of all those different lifestyle options. Are you gonna be buying a trailer in the future, renting a cottage? Are you gonna need a roof rack? All those type of things you wanna consider before making your purchase. Tip number 3, and this is super big. My last name is Van Weeken, so I'm Dutch. I always try to stay on a budget. Now, set a budget for the vehicle is huge, and not just the price of the car. You wanna think of your overall cost of ownership. So think of things like insurance, think of things like maintenance costs, gas, all those type of things, any modifications you might want to do to the car, put all that into your budget. Factor out a monthly budget and an overall price for the car that you want to spend to stay within that monthly budget. Putting that into consideration before you go into the dealership is going to help you not buy an overpriced car or a car beyond your needs that the salesman is presenting to you. Tip number 4 is liking this video. If you learned something today, give us a thumbs up. We're right above St. Catharines Nissan, the dealership that I work at. If you guys are in the Niagara area and if you need help buying a vehicle, do not hesitate to contact me. They're sponsoring my $5,000 giveaway. So if you guys want to win $1,000, we're going to put the link in the description below. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel. You can follow St. Catharines Nissan on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, and you'll get entered in the giveaway. So like this video, follow us on Instagram, and if you are in the market and we helped you with your buying tips, we'd love for you to come in for an honest buying experience. That wasn't really tip number 4. Tip number 4 is going to be get a vehicle history report. So here in Canada, it's called a Carfax. It might also be called a Car Proof where you're from. Pretty sure in the US it's Carfax as well. That's gonna tell you things like where it was owned, has it been in any accidents, any police reports. It should have the service records on there. Service records are key to know if the previous client kept up for services. It's big because you want to know where that car was owned. For example, if that car was owned in like Montreal, Quebec, where there's a lot of snow, a lot of salt on the roads, you might want to check out the rust and the state of the condition of the undercarriage before making your purchase. If the car has been in a huge accident and it has maybe, like if you're buying a $15,000 used car and it's been in a $19,000 accident, there's a $19,000 insurance claim on the car, you may want to stay away from that car because you know basically the whole car was repaired. So check the Carfax, it can tell you a lot, and make sure the dealer provides you with an up-to-date Carfax. And what I mean by that is if you're purchasing the car, today's date is July 4th, 2023, and they show you a Carfax from April 2023, you want to get a Carfax pulled on today's date. And the reason why is sometimes insurance claims and accidents don't report to Carfax right away. I've seen cars where we pulled their Carfax and then a month later, an accident or an insurance claim hits the Carfax when we re-pull the report. So it's important to know you want an up-to-date Carfax or vehicle history report, and you want to check the service records. Number 5 is going to be inspect the car thoroughly. You don't know how many customers I see come into our dealership and they buy a car. Some people buy a car online without even seeing it, or they buy a car without even walking around or looking on the inside. If it was me buying a car, I would open up every single compartment on the car. I would test, make sure every single button works, every single latch works, every single hinge works. I would make sure I check out the car thoroughly. If you have the ability to, throw it up on a hoist and look underneath. Get a copy of the work that the dealership has done to the vehicle or plans to do the vehicle. If they allow you, you can take it to a trusted mechanic that you trust to throw it up on the hoist and tell you if the car's major mechanical repairs down the road. Inspect the car thoroughly because you might not see that dent or scratch that is on the car, and when you take your car home, there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it if it was already on the car. So inspect it thoroughly, make sure everything is fixed and everything works. And that kind of flows us into our tip number 6. Tip number 6 is going to be test driving the car. Again, it baffles me how many people purchase a vehicle without test driving. I would recommend you test drive the car thoroughly, maybe 2-3 different times, have multiple drivers try the car to get other opinions. Take that car on the highway, get it up to 140 kilometers an hour, whatever that is in miles. Take it and get it up to a high speed at fast speeds, because there's a lot of noises that happen when you're not at high speeds. You want to test things like the brakes. You want to make sure the AC runs cold. You want to make sure the heat and defrost systems work. Check the tires, make sure the tires are in line. Just take the car for a thorough test drive and make sure everything works and it's comfortable and you're not hearing those strange noises. You're not hearing any squeaking of the brakes, any changes when you turn the wheel. You're really just checking to make sure the car drives smoothly, because it's one thing for a dealership to tell you they're going to fix things. It's another thing for them to actually do it. So I would make sure you test drive the car. If the car hasn't gone through their certification or repairs yet, I would make sure you test drive it again after they complete those repairs before you take the car home, just to make sure everything is sound and everything is in the proper state that it should be when you're buying a used car. So here's tip number 7. Think long-term on the vehicle. You don't know how many people think short-term and they forget about the long-term. A car purchase is not a 1-year purchase, 1-year play, or a 6-month thing. It's not like you're buying like a pack of underwear or something. You're buying a car here. So you want to think 5, 6 years, 7 years down the road and how your life is going to be. Things like having a cosigner is something big. If you're going to put a cosigner on your car loan, are you going to be with that person, and are you going to be able to trust that person for the next 5 to 10 years? You got to consider that. You got to consider your overall cost of ownership. What type of maintenance is this car going to require? How much gas am I going to be spending? What's the insurance monthly or annually? Are there any significant repairs that I'm going to have to do on this vehicle? Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 5, etc. You got to think of it like that. Am I planning to have kids in the future? Is this car going to be too small? The last thing you're going to want to do is have to buy a car and switch it out in those 10 years. Your goal when buying a car and this is the way I look at it from a more financial side of things. You got to achieve the golden years. And what do I mean by the golden years is those are the years where you buy the car and you're done making payments, you don't owe any money to a bank, or there's no more payments on the car, and you're basically just driving it without any monthly payments, and all you have to pay for is the maintenance and the repairs and the cost of ownership. You want to get in those golden years and try to ride out the golden years for as long as you can. So think long term. Number 8 has certainly changed a little bit for 2023, but it's still an option here, and you guys need to understand this when buying a used car. Number 8 is to negotiate the price. Now, a lot of people think because there is a lot of supply and demand, the demand for used cars is a lot higher than the supply. That's what's kind of changed in 2023. Back in 2018, 2019, there is a ton of supply of cars and little demand. Now there's a high demand but very little supply. So some dealerships have taken the negotiation factor out of purchasing a vehicle. Now you can still negotiate the price of the car, but it's not the same as it was before. If you think you can walk into a dealership and let's say they have the car listed for $20,000 and offer them $15,000 and get a $5,000 discount, that's not really the case. Most dealerships might have like $1,000 to $2,000 profit if they're lucky in the car. So you can negotiate that down, maybe $500 to $1,000 you might be able to get off the price of the car. But if you break the transaction down into multiple negotiations, that's how you're gonna save that $4,000 to $5,000. So what I mean by that is there's multiple transactions that happen when you purchase a vehicle. There's the purchase of the car itself. There's the trade-in appraisal. If you're trading a car in, you can negotiate your trade-in value. There's also the interest rate. You can negotiate the interest rate that the dealership is offering you. And there's also any after products, things like warranties or tinted windows or insurance policies that you can negotiate as well. So that's 4 things you can negotiate. And if you can save $500 to $1,000 on those 4 things, that's your $4,000 savings right there. So remember that you can negotiate the price of the car, you can negotiate your trade-in price, you can negotiate the interest rate of your loan if you're financing, and you can negotiate extended warranties, back-end products, those type of things. So there's so many steps to the negotiation that you can really save some money if you break it down into multiple steps. And that's a crucial tip that most people don't think. All they think about is getting the best deal on the price of the car. But if you get the best deal on the price of the car at a high interest rate, you're still paying more for that car. So remember that there's multiple stages and multiple transactions that you can negotiate. Tip number 8 is gonna flow right into number 9 here. And number 9 kind of coincides with tip number 8, and that is exploring all your finance options. So going to a dealership, if you need a loan for a vehicle, going to the dealership, you will get a fair interest rate. As I said before, that interest rate is negotiable. Most dealerships will just have a flat interest rate for people with prime credit without knowing that maybe they can knock that interest rate down a percent or 2 to get you a lower interest rate. You can also go to your bank directly and see how much you qualify for and what interest rate you could get a direct loan for right from your bank. And if it's lower than the rate the dealership's offering you, then it might be to your benefit to take that option. You also might be able to ask maybe a family member, hey, can I borrow this amount of money and pay it to you back in an extended period of time, and maybe set up a loan through a family member at a lower interest rate. That's another option that you could do. Explore all your finance options as opposed to just going with the dealership interest rate. My last and final tip, this one is huge, guys. I see this happen all the time, and I do not want you to make this mistake. Number 10 when buying a used car in 2023 is read your paperwork. When you come to buy the car, whether they do it online or in person, they're gonna have a stack of paperwork for you to fill out. And if you just sit there and sign it and just flip through and sign your name, you might miss something. You wanna make sure the pricing is broken down, what you agreed to. You want to get the paperwork before you even come and pick up the car, review it, and then come in and sign it and make sure everything matches. There could be different things that they're not disclosing in regards to the title, the registration, the warranty, service records. Like, you want to check all the paperwork, make sure everything is what you agreed to and it's acceptable in your terms or the terms that you agreed to with the car salesman, and make sure everything matches. That paperwork goes through a lot of lines of communication at the dealership. It goes from the salesman to the sales manager to the finance manager, and sometimes something could be missed in communication or something could be lost in translation, and it's up to you to find out those mistakes and make sure those mistakes are not costing you money. So that's your 10 tips, guys. I'm gonna share with you 2 things that you should not say to a car salesman when you're on the used car lot. But before I do, I just hope that you guys take these tips, and if you guys learned something, like I said before, comment in the comment section or give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to come purchase a vehicle from me here at St. Catharines Nissan, do not hesitate to contact me. My information is in the description below. I love when customers come in and they start trying to negotiate with me. I can tell just by the way some of the customers act that they've seen these YouTube videos and just by some of the things that they're doing. So I love that. Come in, mention the YouTube video, make sure we're both on the same page, and I'll certainly help give you a pleasurable buying experience. But here's 2 things you don't want to do. When I hear these things, I kind of know that I'm already in control of the whole situation as a car sales or finance manager. Thing you shouldn't say, number 1, is you should not show any emotion or positivity to the car. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is if you come on the lot to buy a car and the first thing you say to me, and I'm the car salesman, you say, "I love it, I want it," I already know that you're gonna buy the car, and I know I don't need to discount it. I know you've already seen the price on our website, and I'm not gonna give you any discounts, even if you ask for them, because you've already told me you love the car and you wanna buy the car. So kind of letting the cat out of the bag early is a big mistake. You wanna act like you don't want the car, and you wanna not show as much emotion. Kind of keep your poker face on so that the salesperson is gonna put their best foot forward when it comes to the pricing to earn their business. So hopefully that helps you. Number 2, you still want to be pleasurable and you still want to be polite. Don't come to the car sales lot being an asshole or with your guard up. You still want to be polite and friendly with the car salesman. The people who are the pains in the arses or the pains in the ass, they often don't get the best deal, but the people who are nice, friendly, and courtesy and polite, they're the ones that we want to give the best deals to. So don't come in with your guard up. Treat the salesperson with respect. Book appointments, be on time, be punctual, and you'll certainly get the best deal. So that's a wrap, guys. Hopefully you guys learned something. Like I said, thumbs up if you guys learned something here. If we helped you with your buying experience in 2023, just give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. My name is Christopher. Just comment your questions below and I'd love to answer them. Don't forget to enter our giveaway. The link is in the description below, and we'll see you in the next Cars Unlocked video. Have a great day.